Hi guys, so today I want to make another polymer clay pen, and my work surface is horrible. I should probably turn it over. I used acetone and it burned that out. But anyway, but I want to use the style of, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, Mokume Gane, I guess. It's when you kind of stack up the different colors of polymer clay and you press into them, make impressions, whatever you want, and then you slice it thin so then the polymer clay has all these different dimensions and colors to it. It's pretty cool. But I'm just using these basic pens. I'm not sure if someone had sent these to me or if I got these at Walmart, but they're round pens, okay? So the big sticks are the best. And then they have the store brand ones that you can always use. So this one's called Max Pen. Again, I'm not sure exactly where I picked those up, but those are that. I'm going to be using these colors of Sculpey and Primo. And Primo is by Sculpey. I generally don't mix my clays, but for this project I just grabbed whatever I had. Like some of these are open and I just wanted to see what colors would coordinate kind of cute together. So I'll be using this this color as, I'm going to try to make like hearts in it instead of just circles or instead of just poking it. So it might make a big mess, but it's going to look cool anyway. So this is Fuchsia in Primo. And then for the actual Mokume Gane, the mixing the colors, I'll be using these colors here. So this is Sculpey 3, just called purple. This one is Primo Turquoise. This one's Sculpey 3, Dusty Rose. And I should probably use a brighter one, but I wanted this to jump out of the color, so I'm using a lighter pink. And then this is like a lime color, and I believe it's also Sculpey 3, but I don't remember the name, but it's just a lime color. I know they have a few different greens, but this is like the brighter green. I'm going to be using my knife. I know what you can do with this knife is bend it, which is always good for different shapes, but I'll be using that. I'm going to use this little cutter to make like a heart shape, and hopefully it doesn't mess up what I'm trying to do, but what I'm going to do is press into it with the heart shape cutter, and then we'll go from there, and I'll show you when we get to that point. And of course my pasta roller, or whatever you want to call it. This is the actual pasta roller. It's not the Sculpey brand or any kind of clay brand. It's the real one that I ordered. I picked up. I know I ordered one before from like dickblick.com, which was a pasta roller. It wasn't like a toy brand. And this one I might have bought at Bed Bath & Beyond. I'm not sure, but it's Al Dente brand. And we're going to be working on the largest setting. So for me, the largest setting is the larger number. Sometimes the larger setting on other machines is a smaller number. So just so however wide you can get it, that's where you want to go with the largest number on your settings, okay? So like for mine, it's 7. So what I'm going to do is take the clay out, condition it, and when I mean condition it, I'm going to bring it out in the lightest color first so that your hands don't get all muddied with different colors. And just work the clay. I'll probably use half a brick for each thing. This is probably less than half a brick, but it's about half a brick too, okay? So I'll be cutting this in half and using half of it, conditioning all of them, okay? And I'll come back to that point. Hopefully you can see this pretty well. I rolled out the lime green, the pink, which was very soft, as you can see, and the purple was too, so like the other ones are a little bit drier. They're fine, they're conditioned, but the edges are going to be kind of crusty, and some people wouldn't even use it if it was like that, but I'm okay with it. The purple is also very soft. So I have these long strips, so what you can do, I'm just debating if I want to keep them long like this. That should be fine. So what I'm going to do is stack the colors in a way that I think would be good. So I think it's going to be the green over the pink, and you can stack them however you like, and then I'll put those two over the blue and those on top of the purple. Try to line them up nice and neat. So now they're all stacked up together, okay? Obviously on the edge I have some that aren't, but we'll use that too. I don't need to use it right now though. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of press down on them. And if you want these nice and neat, you can cut into it if you think that green, how it's kind of crumbly, is going to, you know, make your design look not so good. That's up to you. I'm going to cut off the very edge just to kind of keep that, and as you can see, and you can use it for something else, okay? So keep that scrap clay. And I want to do this so I don't have to zig it out for too long. And what I'm going to do is, actually I'm going to stack this one on top of this one. Now normally you wouldn't do this. What you could do is run it through, squeeze it down a little bit, then cut that and keep running it through. So, and you get just more and more layers. This is all scrap clay, but I'm going to use it for something else, so I'm going to put it to the side. And now you have these little layers all stacked up. So now there's 2 sets. If you wanted to, what I was saying is don't stack it yet and roll it out a little bit, you know, as long, and then it makes it thinner and more stuck together, and then you can stack it. But since this is just for a pen and I'm not trying to make like jewelry or anything too fancy, I'm not really concerned with it. So now we have these stacks, and what I'm going to do is take this roller, and I forgot to tell you, you might need a roller, and kind of start squeezing it down, okay? You don't want to lose the shape too much, but at the same time you want to get it so that it becomes one piece. So I'm going to keep working on this and keep kind of squeezing it down. Okay, and this is where I would say I might just cut off the edges. So what happens with this stuff is, as you're doing this, you're gonna get a nice even little in the middle. You don't see it right now. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this and talk. It's gonna get kind of swirly because we're gonna make impressions in it and all this other good stuff. So you just keep doing this, and basically, I'm not doing the way you would normally do this, because if you did, I wouldn't turn it so much and I wouldn't mess with it so much. But like I said, it's for a pen. It's not a big deal. But you would want to get it to about the length and width of what you're trying to cover, or for me, I'm trying to cover a pen. So I'm going to try to get it longer than I am wide. So I'm going to keep working on this, rolling it longer, okay? Pretty thick. What I did was I brought one of the pens out, and I didn't notice this pen has like a weird black cap at the bottom, so it's probably not what I would use next time, but I'm going to use it this time because this is what I have, and I told you guys I'll be using it. And I kind of measured it. So what you're going to do is open your pen up, take the lid off, and you're going to pull this part out, okay? And then I just kind of measured it and thought that's about as long as I want it. You can be a little bit short because by the time you stretch it out a little bit more, it'll be as long as the pen. So this is fine, the length that I have it here right now. And what I'm going to do, my son's howling like a wolf. What I'm going to do is cut some of these edges off so I can have a better idea of where there's actual clay and where there's not, you know what I'm saying, where it kind of blends together. Really cool. Already just has a nice, well, if you can see that, it's still layered, but there's some thin, some thicker. Okay, so I'm gonna put it to the side, and all this stuff you can still use, this scrap clay, I'm telling you. Okay, and I'm gonna leave the edges just the way they are at the ends, because they're not too bad. It's just the very edges that needed to be trimmed off there. And so what you're gonna do, depending on what you want to do with yours, Mokume Gane, really what you would do is take different objects. Let's say the end of this pen, it's just a brush, sorry, this brush. You can just poke into it, and you don't have to poke all the way down, but just kind of as much as you want. You wouldn't poke all the way through, okay? And then you can do concentric circles. You can do some larger than that, some smaller. Like let's say this pen cap, I don't know why this pen cap has. Let me grab a pen cap that doesn't have a handle. Okay, so let me grab a little cap and I'll go around that to show you what that looks like. This cap, see, it doesn't have anything sticking out of it. And you can push down around there, and that gives a different shape too. So this is just one way of doing it. You can just do this, and I'm not going all the way through, but I'm going near. But I'm also going to add some hearts, which I've never done, guys, so I'm going to try it out. It might just make a mess, like I said, but it might be cool. But for the hearts, I am going to cut the whole section out. So I have this little Sculpey cutter. It comes in a kit, okay? And what I want to do is I'm going to push all the way down, and I am going to take this bit of heart out. Okay, and then I'll just poke it out with whatever. Just push it out. We don't want that. Okay, and this actually could be cute for something else because this is a perfect little heart and it's layered. If I wanted to keep it, I wouldn't have pushed it so hard, okay? But I'm going to poke out a few hearts here and there. Some hearts. I didn't do it everywhere because what I'm thinking is when I wrap it around, I don't want it to get in the way of the other one. So I kind of strategically placed them, but hopefully I did a good job with that. So I'm going to move this to the side just for a second. As you can see on the other side, it's just poked through. Okay, it's no big deal. I'm going to grab some of the Fuchsia Primo, and what I should do is condition this. You know, I'm going to go ahead and condition it because I have to roll it out. I don't want it to not be conditioned. So what I'm going to do is just grab a little chunk of this. I'm going to condition it nice, and then kind of when I bring it back out, I'm going to keep it so it's as wide as or as tall as this stack is, okay? So I'm going to condition it down and then keep it so that it's about this thick as this thick as my stack over here is. And what I'm going to do is cut out little hearts. I need to cut out 5 of them. As you can see, I have 5 there. I don't know if I'm going to get all 5 in this one little stack, but that's okay. So I'm going to cut it, pop it out. It doesn't matter if it gets a little bit damaged because it's just, I'm going to push it in here anyway. So there's one of my little hearts, and I'm going to put it in to the space where the last heart, where I cut the heart out, okay? So I'm going to do it to all 5 and place them right in those little holes. So I'm going to bring this over here because I don't want to. So now what you're going to do is just, I kind of pushed them in here so that they don't, well, you want them to go all the way through, obviously that's what I did, but I'm just going to keep them sticking there a little bit. Let me move this over. And you kind of push them in so that they become part of the clay, okay? I'm just kind of pushing them so the clay starts kind of wanting to meld with them, and I'm trying to keep that same little heart shape, okay? And then we're just going to give it a good going over with this guy again, and try to do a pretty good job I'm trying not to warp it so that they still like hearts, but at the same time I want them to become part of the clay, so I'm really kind of pushing it in and trying to make them kind of thin, okay? So what you're supposed to do now is go ahead and cut into it. I'm kind of afraid of doing that because that pink clay was so soft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the freezer for just a little bit and see if I can get it to stiffen up just a bit. And then I'll come back and try to slice through it, okay? Chilly, like really cold. So this is the moment of truth now. What I'm going to try to do, generally what you do with Mokume Gane, okay, sorry about that, my boys came running in. Okay, so I am going to try and keep it stuck down to my surface because that's going to help me cut into it. Usually with Mokume Gane, it's a little chunk and it's tall, so as you're shaving it, it's no big deal, it's nice and thick. I wanted this to be skinny enough and long enough so that when I cut it, I'm just going to put it right on the pen, so that's why it's so thin, but otherwise you would want to have a chunk of clay. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to look down here actually first, is kind of try to center as I cut into the middle, if that makes any sense, of the clay. And I don't really want to do a sawing motion, I kind of want to just pull it through, okay? So this is going to take me a minute and maybe I probably pause the machine. You want to do it as straight as you can, as even as you can. I'm already going kind of crooked here, I can see on the one side. And that's why I usually use shaved pieces off, but I'm trying to do this a silly way because I'm just going to keep going, okay? So I'm going to try and pull this as I can through the whole thing. I'm going little by little as I can, and if you just keep your thumb kind of there and you can kind of feel the thickness of the clay if that helps, and push it through and then go, you know, move your hand a little bit further back and be careful, you don't want to end up cutting yourself. But you can just keep going like that. Okay, this is what I'm going to try to keep showing you. Okay, so anyway, I just finished cutting, and what you do is you take the layer off, and this is the side that you're going to be using. So if you see it has the circles, it's kind of crazy, it looks really strange. And if you do take little layer by little layer off, of course, it's going to be different. So this is the other side. So I can use both of these for pens, both sides. So what you can do, like this one came out kind of thin, so for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll out maybe some of this scrap clay even. Yeah, why not? This piece that's kind of like a scrap, and I'm going to roll it out thinner so I can place this over it, and that'll help the pen have a little more stability. Okay, so I'm going to roll this through my machine, and I'll come back at that point. Machine just a couple times just to get some stability. I'm probably just going to cut it off like here. Cut that piece off. And I cut it, it's like at the third thinnest setting. Okay, so it's pretty thin. So what I'm going to do is take this piece that came out kind of thin and place it right on top of that, okay? And this is how you would patch it up for a pen, you know. For something else, you probably do something different, but I'm going to put that in there. So now these two pieces are together, and I'm just going to run it through on the thickest setting of my machine, okay? Stretched it a little bit and made it look a little more funkier even. So what I'm going to do is get my pen. Usually I make a template, but since I didn't this time, I'm just not going to. What I'm going to do is kind of look at it and see where I want to cut it. I know I lost the little heart down there, but I can use that for something else. So I'm going to cut it straight here. Okay. And if I was to roll it, I'm going to kind of pay attention to that, but I'm going to cut this off here too. So there's quite a bit of scrap clay on this item, obviously. And what I'm going to do is actually turn this over to the side I'm not using, because that's basically how the pen's going to be. And what I'm going to do is start picking these edges up. If you wanted to clean the pen off first, you can scratch it up a little bit, you know, and then maybe clean it off with alcohol, just so that the clay will stick to it better, but I've never had issues with that. I've just seen other people do that, and I thought, okay, I guess that's a good little tip, but I've never had that problem. So I'm going to roll it, and as I roll it, it's going to come to the other edge, and I'm just going to eyeball that, kind of have an idea of where that cuts in, and I'm going to cut it, but at an angle so that it's kind of pushing into that area. Okay. And this is the excess clay, and you might even be able to get another pen out of that, but if you wanted to. Okay, so I'm just going to roll it, continue rolling until it's all rolled together. Now you have this little space here, that's just where it joins up, and what I would do is just gently kind of try to put it together, but I'm also going to roll it at the same time. I've never ever tried this technique, and I certainly haven't tried it with incorporating a little heart into it, so that was interesting, I think. So, okay, I'm just going to keep rolling it until it's a nice thickness. And this is just how I do any other pen, just like if you were just covering a pen. It's not a big deal. Make sure the end is nice and flush, and if you want to, you can even kind of roll it around like that, keep it nice and straight. If this doesn't meet up the way you would like, you you know what I'm saying, if it doesn't look flush enough, you can just grab a tool. A lot of times, I don't have it with me, but just your wood tools that you use to work with clay, and you can just kind of bring it together better. Okay, and then just keep smoothing it out. So I'm going to keep smoothing this out until it's as smooth as I want it, until enough to where I'm pretty happy with it. And so now on this very tip, not the side where you're going to stick the pen back in, but this very tip, you can just bring the clay up and around. I just use my fingers to do that. And kind of smooth it out as you're doing it. You're pinching it, you're smoothing it out, just so that it makes a nice top. Of course, if you're going to put something on top of there, like a little figurine, you don't have to do this if you're going to put it in there, you know. But so there it is. And hopefully you can still kind of see the hearts. I know they might be stretched out now, but as you can see, there's a heart shape there and this big one down here. That's pretty cool. And then some of those swirls from the circles that we did where we just pushed in on it. And so the pen's very abstract, very different, fun to look at. And what I'm going to do is put this in the oven at whatever the temperature is to bake Sculpey, and I think it's 275, yeah, for about 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to keep an eye on it because it's pretty thin. The clay doesn't take that long, and then also you don't want to melt your pen. So I'll keep an eye on it, and then I will have some pictures for you guys. Some people like to sand their pens when they're done. You sand it. It just depends on how it looks when you're done baking it. If it looks like kind of rough and you need to sand it, then go ahead. If it's not, then it's perfect. And if you want to glaze it, you can do that. I'll leave one glazed and one unglazed, and you can tell the difference. I'll have pictures for you guys, okay? So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy the tutorial. It was really fun. I think I'll try this technique again. Maybe I'll perfect it a little better next time, okay? I was already long enough. You can definitely just take the other piece, remember the other piece that we have, and you can still cut into this if you wanted for a different project. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this through, and you don't have to run it through your machine. If you feel like your machine's going to take over and you rather do it by hand, just get your roller and just kind of gently by hand do it yourself. And that way, you know, your hearts, like I have the hearts that I put in there, don't warp as much. Okay? And you don't need the machine anyway. For any of this, you can just roll it all out by hand, okay? So then you would do the same steps that I did for the first pen. Just put your pen there, roll it out, and, you know, size it and all that good stuff. And so that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and you try it out. If you do, let me know. All right, bye now.